Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock. Let's go over what has happened to the stock, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff. So as per usual, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, etc., I do have a membership section on YouTube. That link is down below in the description of the video for just $3 a month. You can access all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, mainly on Tesla stock, but I always, or I sometimes post other stocks as well. Today I've been posting a decent amount actually, but obviously usually the main focus is Tesla, or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that, plus NVIDIA updates as well daily. But jumping into a Tesla with another 6% day on the day, really closing at $463 per share, which compared to the market is going to be yet another outperformance, of course, as Tesla just continues the squeeze and continues the momentum up to the point where the 9 EMA even is having issues keeping up. But what does this mean moving forward? I mean, it's spiking even more after hours. And can it go even higher, right? Like, just when you think there's no way it can go higher, it just goes higher. And the question, of course, is, can it go even higher than this? Unfortunately, if you're a bear at least, the answer is yes. Why? Because you can see here on the 15-minute chart, we had this beautiful looking ascending triangle, a little bit of a strange price action that happened right here. I'm not gonna lie, some high volume dump. Well, it doesn't, yeah, right here, some high volume dump that happened here into a nice high volume pump though, of course, but I don't know what happened over here. This was a very weird price action. But nonetheless, it was setting up a nice looking ascending triangle pattern right on the 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, whichever one you want to look at. And we closed breaking out. The breakout candle, or the last 15-minute candle, was the candle that pretty much broke out of this ascending triangle, which is obviously really good. Now keep in mind, this is of course a much smaller ascending triangle. This is not going to be anywhere near as the big one that we broke out of not that long ago, all the way over here, right? Same idea, just of course substantially smaller. But nonetheless, still obviously a bullish sign. So the way you want to look at Tesla moving forward is going to be pretty simple stuff, right? As long as tomorrow Tesla pretty much doesn't drop below, I would say about really 460 to 462, that $2 range, as long as that pretty much is defended and doesn't get lost, I see no reason why Tesla doesn't continue making its way higher, kind of like what's already doing post-market, for better or for worse if you haven't entered already. But, at the very least, 469, unironically, it could be that main first price target, but as long as this momentum keeps up and as long as there's no obvious top signal, I wouldn't be surprised to see closer to $480 per share. But yeah, I mean, as long as Tesla continues this momentum, there's no reason to be bearish the stock, right? Like I said, one way to look at it, if you want to just, the most simplistic way possible, the 9 EMA, right? This little green cloud over here is the top of the green cloud is the 9 EMA, the bottom of the green cloud is the 21 EMA. As long as we're just even at least above, ideally rather, I should say, above the 9 EMA, I don't know, there's nothing bearish about the stock, right? Like, yes, it's overextended. Yes, it's way overbought. Yes, it is getting a little bit too crazy. That is all true. But with that being said, until there's an actual, the thing you have to understand is, even before when I was talking about the stock being overbought, again, overbought doesn't mean top signal. Overbought doesn't mean it has to stop here or there's no more going up, right? Overbought just implies the fact that it's overextended. But overextended doesn't always mean top signal, right? Or anything like that, right? You have to understand that, right? So even when I bring out my bands, for instance, right? Obviously, we are stupidly overbought. There's no question about it. We are exceptionally overbought. But there's still momentum and we can still continue moving higher. All the overbought means in this case is the fact that, hey, be a little bit careful, right? Be a little bit careful. You are playing with fire here. Now, if you obviously are, a very good fire juggler, for instance, you can definitely, play some pretty nice trades looking here, even on the 15, 5-minute chart, etc., as I just showed you, right? But, you are playing with fire up here. It is a very elevated area. At some point the music will end, but until we see evidence of that, there's no reason to think it's going to end just yet because, well, as we're continuing to see, it's just continuing to rally. Again, another way to potentially see if the music is going to finally come to an end is dropping below the 9 EMA is number one, or even losing, in my opinion, the previous all-time highs, which was about 415. If we ever lose 415, I think the music probably stops short term and we begin a correction. At the very least, in my opinion, a correction back down to the 360s roughly, right? But again, so far so good. So far there's nothing suggesting that the music should stop. So far the party's still going, essentially is what I'm trying to say. So let's continue enjoying the party until the cops arrive, I guess is one way to put it. So looking pretty good so far, right? No reason to be bearish, and just really look for these type of signals. Look for these types of breaks potentially to happen. If you're someone that's looking to maybe start looking for a pullback, maybe you have cover calls, maybe you're bear, maybe you're shorting the stock. Whatever the case may be, nothing to be bearish about here. as long as the stock keeps looking the way it's looking, right? And like I said before, on the 15-minute chart, it's just consistently making higher highs, higher lows, right? Even today, right? Nice, massive breakout, nice little ascending triangle, and it broke out of that as well. And it's going up even further after market. So, at some point this will end. Obviously, I will say this will end at some point. This will not just continue happening forever, and Tesla will just be up 6% every single day for the rest of our lives, right? Obviously, that's not going to happen. Obviously, it's going to cool off. Obviously, it will correct, probably even potentially, depending on how fast up this goes, severely back to the downside. Absolutely. But again, no reason to try and time the top, because who the hell knows where the top is, and there's nothing suggesting the top is even here just yet. So those are probably the main things I'm eyeballing for Tesla moving forward. Take a quick look at the weekly chart, right? The weekly chart, you can see well above previous all-time highs. So again, the way, it's pretty simple stuff, right? As long as we, in my opinion, if Tesla does have at least a short-term correction, and we do make our way back down like this, as long as it defends previous all-time highs, and let's say we do correct back down to 415, which at this point, it seems pretty far away, doesn't it, right? That would be like an 11% correction. But let's just say, in theory, of course, it actually happens, that we do finally get some cool off, right? We do get some correction. In my opinion, as long as 415 holds and it doesn't break below 415, I think the short-term, honestly, bullish momentum is still really strong. And I think it'll bounce pretty substantially off of that 415 zone and potentially make its way higher, at the very least for an equal top, wherever that equal top may be, of course, or even higher, really, or even higher, right? So that's probably the way I look at it. But again, I also look at it in the way that if we do drop below 415 and we do start closing below 415, that's where I'm going to start getting a little bit more cautious, I guess you can say. And that's where I'm going to start assuming that the correction, or at the very least a short-term correction, will probably begin. But again, nothing suggesting that so far. So there's no reason to assume such a thing until something is obviously providing us some decent evidence of it potentially starting to come to fruition. So again, another way to look at Tesla, though, also moving forward, if you're trying to, still trade Tesla or whatever the case may be, the daily chart is honestly, for now, pretty useless, because we're just rocketing up. We're well above all the EMAs, moving averages, etc. We're well above them. It's not going to give you too much information. In my opinion, 15-minute or even something as low as the 5-minute, which I don't usually like to do, mainly because I don't like to day trade as much as I. Sometimes I do, honestly, but I prefer not to day trade. But with the way the parabolic moves are happening, in order to really see what the hell is actually going on, you have to go in the slightly more micro time frames to really kind of zoom in on the price action, to really get an idea of what's happening. Because again, 5-minute, 15-minute, you see this beautiful ascending triangle. 4-hour, yeah, you don't see anything, right? Like 4-hour doesn't suggest anything like that. And you could have missed this ascending triangle. Daily, obviously nothing with this, ascending triangle. Even the 1-hour kind of has that bull flag action, but not as clean of a look as, for instance, this right here. So again, if you are playing Tesla, I do recommend, not financial advice, you go on the smaller time frames for now while we're still this parabolic, because the daily will take a bit more time to set up something worthwhile looking at, in my opinion. But yeah, that's probably the main thing I'm looking at. Let's take a look at options flow. I've been looking at GameStop. Actually, GameStop is, something's brewing with GameStop, guys, so watch for that one moving forward. But yeah, overall, the options flow, still bullish. The bulls are still dominating. There's no question about that. But again, the bears are not letting up. Like, the bears are trying to step in front of this freight train. 1.1 million, 1.2 million, 2.3 million. Like, the bears are 1.5 million here. They're trying to step in, man. They're trying to put a stop to this crazy train, if you will. So far, not successfully, but they are stepping in. So let's see if the bears will eventually be able to finally put a stop to this massive rally that Tesla has been experiencing. Again, I want to make it clear, at some point this will end. At some point this will end. At some point the music will stop playing, and at some point we will have fresh new, people, holding the bag at pretty much all-time highs again, and who knows for how long, obviously, right? But again, with that being said too, nothing is suggesting that so far, and in fact, we're still only seeing bullish patterns setting up on the micro time frames. So yeah, at this point, just kind of let this puppy ride, let this puppy do its thing until something more obvious is shown that maybe it's time for a cool off. But yeah, there's really not much more to add to that. Take a look at Black Box really quickly. Let's see if Black Box is giving us any other information in terms of maybe like confirmed options flows. Go ahead and close this out over here. Let's go over here. Where is Tesla? Tesla's nowhere to be found here. Maybe it's on the bearish flow somewhere. It is on the bearish flow. 20 million bearish flow on Tesla, 40 million on NVIDIA. So yeah, so I'm getting some bearish flow on Tesla here, obviously overall in terms of confirmed options flow, but nothing too crazy. 20 million, I wouldn't say it's anything out of this world for Tesla, to be completely honest. Not enough, in my opinion, to put a stop to this train just yet. So let's see. But moving forward into tomorrow, it really just comes down to, if we get a pullback, as long as we hold pretty much 460 to 462, I expect it to most likely pretty much go like this, right? That's roughly the price action I expect tomorrow or Wednesday, right? One of those 2 days. Also, we have CPI on Wednesday, don't forget. So let's see how that plays out. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.